Chosen one, stop. Do not scroll past this. I need to address something you have been afraid to say out loud. God has been silent. You have been praying. You have been crying out. You have been begging for an answer. And heaven has responded with nothing but silence. No voice, no sign, no confirmation, no direction, nothing. And it has been destroying you, because you started to wonder if God is angry with you, if he has abandoned you, if you did something to make him turn away, if your prayers are even reaching him at all. Let me tell you something tonight that is going to change everything you think about the silence. God is not ignoring you. He is working, and what he is building requires the silence. At exactly 3:33 this morning, I was pulled into a vision that explained everything. I found myself standing in a massive construction site, but it was unlike any construction site I had ever seen. There were no workers visible, no machinery running, no hammering, no drilling, no sound at all, just absolute complete silence. The site stretched as far as I could see. Massive structures were being assembled, foundations were being poured, walls were being erected, and all of it was happening in perfect silence. Yet, as I looked closer, I could see that things were being built. Walls were rising inch by inch. Foundations were being laid stone by stone. Structures were taking shape moment by moment, all without a single sound. I was confused. How can something this massive be built in complete silence? Where were the workers? Where was the noise? Then God walked onto the site. He was dressed like a master architect. He had blueprints in his hands. His eyes were focused and intentional. And he was smiling. He said, "This is how I work in the lives of my chosen ones, in silence, without announcement, without fanfare, without the noise that would alert the enemy to what I am constructing. You have been crying out for me to speak, but I have been building, and some things are built better in silence. The foundation I am laying for you cannot be laid with noise. The structure I am erecting for you cannot be announced beforehand. The enemy would try to destroy it before it was complete. So I build in silence. I work in the quiet. I construct in the dark. And when it is finished, when the structure is complete, when the foundation is unshakable, then and only then will I break the silence. And what I reveal will be worth every moment you spent wondering if I had abandoned you. That word is for you. God has not abandoned you. He is building something, and the silence is necessary for the construction. Do not skip this message. Do not scroll away. If you leave before the revelation is complete, you will continue misinterpreting the silence as rejection. Stay with me until the end. Your understanding of the silence is about to change forever. Before we go deeper, I need you to do something. Type "the silence is construction" in the comments below. This is not just typing. This is your declaration. You are telling God that you trust what he is building, even when you cannot see it. You are releasing the fear that he has abandoned you. Type it now. And subscribe immediately. Turn on all notifications. What comes after this video will reveal what God is building in your specific silence. Miss it, and you will understand that he is working, but not what he is working on. Subscribe now. You did not find this video by accident. You found it because the silence has been crushing you. God scheduled this revelation, and your understanding begins tonight. Let me describe the silence you have been experiencing. It started slowly, maybe months ago, maybe years ago, but at some point, the connection you felt with God changed. The prayers that used to feel powerful started feeling empty. The worship that used to bring tears started feeling routine. The Bible that used to speak directly to you started feeling like just words. The presence that used to be tangible started feeling distant. The dreams and visions that used to come regularly stopped coming at all. The confirmations that used to appear everywhere disappeared, and you kept trying, praying harder, praying longer, fasting more, reading more, doing everything you knew to do, trying different approaches, asking others to pray for you, wondering if you were doing something wrong. But the silence continued. Day after day, week after week, month after month, the silence just continued. And somewhere along the way, the silence started feeling personal, like God was specifically choosing not to respond to you, like everyone else was hearing from heaven, except you, like you had been placed on some divine do not answer list. You started to feel alone, not just alone in the room, alone in the universe, like the one person who was supposed to always be there had stepped away without explanation. God says tonight, I know what the silence felt like. I know you thought I left. I know you wondered what you did wrong. I know you compared yourself to others who seemed to hear from me easily. I know the loneliness was crushing, but I need you to understand something. My silence was never absence, it was focus. When a surgeon operates, the room is quiet. When an architect designs, the space is silent. When a master builds, the noise stops. I was not ignoring you. I was operating on your situation. I was designing your next season. I was building your future. And all of it required me to work without speaking. This reframe is important. Silence does not mean absence. Silence means focus. God was so focused on what he was building for you that he could not be distracted by conversation. Do not skip what comes next. The Spirit is about to reveal why God chose silence over speech. Let me explain why God works in silence. The first reason is protection. Jesus spoke over your silence. He said, I have much more to say to you, more than you can now bear. John 16:12. There are things I did not tell you because you were not ready to hear them. There are answers I did not give because the answers would have crushed you at that stage. There are revelations I held back because the timing was not right. My silence was not punishment, it was protection. I was protecting you from information you could not yet handle. I was shielding you from revelation that would have overwhelmed you. I was waiting until you were strong enough to receive what I was building. Some of you needed to hear that. God was not silent because he did not care. He was silent because you were not ready. If he had shown you where you were headed, you would have been terrified. If he had revealed who you would become, you would not have believed it. If he had explained the process, you would have run from it. So he stayed silent and let you grow strong enough to handle what was coming. The second reason God works in silence is strategy. Archangel Michael declared over your situation, in warfare, the most powerful moves are made in silence. The enemy is defeated not by announcement, but by surprise. If God had spoken openly about what he was building for you, the enemy would have heard. He would have attacked the structure before it was complete. He would have sabotaged the foundation before it was set. He would have destroyed the blueprint before it could be executed. The silence was strategic. God was working in a frequency the enemy could not hear. He was building in a dimension the enemy could not see. And when the construction is complete, when the structure is revealed, the enemy will realize he was outmaneuvered. He was watching the wrong places while God was building in the silence. This is why some of your prayers felt unanswered. God was answering, but he was answering in silence, so the enemy would not know what was coming. The third reason God works in silence is preparation. God says some blessings require preparation, not preparation of the blessing, preparation of the one receiving it. The silence was not me building something for you. The silence was me building something in you. I was developing your character in the quiet. I was strengthening your faith in the dark. I was teaching you to trust without confirmation. I was training you to believe without evidence, because where I am taking you will require a level of faith you did not have before the silence. The silence was the training ground, and you have been graduating without realizing it. This is painful, but powerful. The silence was not about waiting for something external. It was about developing something internal. God was using the silence to forge something in you: patience, trust, endurance, faith, strength. Things that could only be developed in the absence of easy answers. Do not skip. What comes next will address the lies you believed during the silence. Let me talk about what the silence made you believe. When God is silent, the enemy speaks loudest. And during your silence, the enemy has been telling you lies. He told you that God abandoned you, that you are not special enough to hear from, that your prayers are not reaching heaven, that you did something unforgivable, that others are chosen, but you are rejected, that the silence will never end, that you are destined to walk alone forever. And in the absence of God's voice, the enemy's voice started to sound like truth. But God says tonight, every lie the enemy told you during my silence is about to be exposed. I did not abandon you. I was with you every moment, working in frequencies you could not perceive. You are not less special. You are more special, which is why your construction required more silence. Your prayers reached me, every single one. I did not respond with words because I was responding with work. You did not do something unforgivable. You are not rejected. You are under construction, and constructions take time. The silence was never permanent. It was seasonal, and the season is ending. Psalm 30:5 activates over your season. Weeping may stay for the night, but rejoicing comes in the morning. Your night of silence is ending. The morning of revelation is approaching. What was built in the dark is about to be unveiled in the light. Within 14 days, you will receive the first sign that the silence is breaking. A word, a dream, a confirmation, a door. Something will shift, and you will know the construction is nearing completion. Let me address the anger you have been hiding. I know you are angry at God. You might not admit it. You might feel guilty for even feeling it, but the silence made you angry. Angry that he did not answer. Angry that he let you suffer without explanation. Angry that he seemed to help others while you were ignored. Angry that he could have spoken at any time but chose not to. Angry that you gave everything and got silence in return. Angry that your faithfulness seemed to mean nothing. Angry that the silence lasted so long without any indication it would ever end. And you have been suppressing that anger because you were taught that being angry at God is wrong. That questioning him is sin. That demanding answers is disrespect. That good Christians do not get angry at the God they serve. But God says tonight, I can handle your anger. I am not offended by your questions. I am not threatened by your frustration. I am not going to punish you for feeling what you feel. The anger is proof that you expected something from me, and expectation is just faith wearing a different face. Bring me your anger. Tell me what the silence felt like. Let it out. I already know, but I want to hear you say it, because in the speaking, the anger will release. And in the release, you will finally be able to receive what I built while you were waiting. David was angry at God. Job questioned God relentlessly. Jeremiah complained to God openly. The psalmists cried out in frustration again and again, and God did not reject any of them. He will not reject you either. Your anger is not disqualification. It is proof that you cared enough to be disappointed. And disappointment is just expectation that was not yet met. Within 72 hours, release the anger. Speak it to God directly. Tell him what the silence felt like, and watch what happens when you finally let it go. Do not skip. What comes next reveals what God was actually building. Let me tell you what God was constructing in the silence. The first thing he was building is a foundation. God says, "You wanted me to build you a house, but you were standing on sand." If I had built what you asked for on the foundation you had, it would have collapsed. So, I spent the silence building a foundation first. A foundation of character, a foundation of trust, a foundation of patience, a foundation that can hold the weight of what I am about to put on top of it. You thought I was ignoring your request. I was preparing you to actually be able to handle it when I give it. Matthew 7:24-25 activates over your foundation. Everyone who hears these words of mine and puts them into practice is like a wise man who built his house on the rock. The rain came down, the streams rose, and the winds blew and beat against that house. Yet it did not fall, because it had its foundation on the rock. Your foundation is almost complete, and what God builds on it will not fall, no matter what storms come. The second thing God was building is capacity. You ask for certain things: opportunities, relationships, resources, influence, promotions, platforms, partners, provision. But your capacity was not ready. If God had given you what you asked for with the capacity you had, you would have been crushed by it, overwhelmed by it, destroyed by it. The blessing would have become a burden. The promotion would have become a prison. The opportunity would have become an obstacle. The relationship would have become a responsibility you could not carry. So he used the silence to expand your capacity, to stretch your ability to handle pressure, to increase your tolerance for responsibility, to prepare you to actually carry what you were asking for, to strengthen your foundation before adding weight to the structure. God says, "I was not withholding blessing. I was expanding capacity, because I do not give my children things they cannot carry. I do not promote them to places they cannot handle. I do not open doors they are not ready to walk through." The silence was expansion, and your capacity now is not the same as when the silence started. You can handle more now. You can carry more now. You can manage more now. And more is exactly what is coming. Within 21 days, you will feel the increased capacity. Something that would have overwhelmed you before will feel manageable now. This is evidence of the construction. The third thing God was building is protection. Archangel Michael declared over your protection while God was silent. "I was not. I was fighting battles you did not see. I was blocking attacks you did not know about. I was preventing disasters you did not perceive." The silence from God's voice was not silence from God's army. We were active, we were engaged, we were surrounding you with protection that required no announcement. Every enemy plan against you was being dismantled while you were crying out for a word. You wanted to hear from God. God was too busy saving you to talk to you. Now that the immediate threats have been neutralized, now that the protection is in place, the conversation can resume. This is powerful. God's silence did not mean heaven was inactive. It meant heaven was so active that conversation had to wait, like a parent who cannot talk to their child while saving them from danger. The rescue comes first. The explanation comes later. Your explanation is coming. The rescue is almost complete. Let me tell you what is about to happen now that the silence is ending. The construction is nearing completion. The foundation is set. The capacity is expanded, the protection is in place, the timing is aligning. The players are being positioned, the circumstances are being arranged, and God is about to break the silence. Not with a whisper, not with a hint, not with a subtle nudge, with a roar. God says, "What I am about to speak over you will be worth every moment of the silence. The words I held back are about to pour out. The direction I withheld is about to become clear. The confirmation I kept hidden is about to manifest. The doors I kept closed are about to swing open. The relationships I kept at a distance are about to draw near. The opportunities I blocked are about to flood in, and you will understand that the silence was not punishment, it was preparation. Get ready, because when I break the silence, I do not whisper. I roar, and what I declare over you will shake everything that tried to convince you that you were forgotten. Joel 3:16 activates over your breakthrough. The Lord will roar from Zion and thunder from Jerusalem. The earth and the heavens will tremble. But the Lord will be a refuge for his people, a stronghold for the people of Israel. He will roar, he will thunder, the earth will tremble, and you will know that the silence is over. Within 21 days, you will hear God in a way you have not heard him in months, maybe years. A clarity that cuts through every lie the enemy told during the silence. A direction that makes the waiting suddenly make sense. A confirmation that the construction was real. Do not skip. What comes next will address what you need to do now. Let me tell you how to steward the final days of the silence. The silence is ending, but it has not ended yet. You are in the final phase, and how you steward these last days matters. First, stop striving. The silence made you work harder, pray more desperately, fast more aggressively. Do more to try to earn a response. But God says, the silence was never because you did not do enough, and the breakthrough will not come because you finally did enough. Stop striving, start resting. The construction is almost complete, and construction does not need your help to be finished. It needs your trust. Rest in the silence, trust in the building, and let me complete what I started. Second, release the bitterness. Some of you have become bitter during the silence, bitter toward God, bitter toward others who seemed to be blessed while you waited, bitter toward the process itself. But bitterness will block the breakthrough. You need to forgive God for being silent. Not because he was wrong, but because your heart needs to release the offense before it can receive the blessing. Third, prepare to receive. What God built during the silence is about to be delivered, and you need to be ready to receive it. Not just emotionally ready, practically ready. God says, I am about to hand you what I built. Make sure your hands are empty. Make sure your heart is open. Make sure your life has room for what is coming. Some of my children ask me for blessing, but their hands are full of bitterness. Their hearts are closed by offense, and their lives have no margin for increase. Empty your hands, open your heart, create margin, because what is coming will require space. Now seal this understanding over your life. Say this out loud. Your voice confirms your trust. Almighty Father, the one who builds in silence, I receive the revelation of what you have been doing. You were not ignoring me. You were constructing for me. You were not absent. You were focused. You were not punishing me. You were preparing me. I release every lie the enemy told me during the silence. The lie that you abandoned me, the lie that I was rejected, the lie that the silence would never end. I release my anger about the silence. I release my bitterness about the waiting. I release my confusion about the process. I trust what you built while I was crying. I trust the foundation you laid. I trust the capacity you expanded. I trust the protection you established. I am ready to receive what you are about to reveal. My hands are empty. My heart is open. My life has room. Break the silence when you are ready. I will be waiting with trust instead of fear. In Jesus' name, amen. Heaven recorded that prayer. The construction is in final phase. The silence is nearing its end, and what is about to be revealed will be worth every quiet moment. Now complete the declaration. First, like this video. This is not about numbers. This is about agreement. When you press that button, you confirm that you trust the silence. Do it now. Second, subscribe and turn on notifications. More revelation about what God is building is coming. If you are not subscribed, you will miss it. Subscribe now. Third, share this video with someone who has been suffering in the silence. Someone who thinks God has forgotten them. They need to know that God is constructing, not ignoring. Send this to them now. Fourth, type "the silence is construction" in the comments. Let other silent sufferers know they are not alone. Let heaven record your trust. Type it now. Chosen one. You came to this video crushed by the silence. You are leaving understanding that the silence was construction. God did not abandon you. He was building for you. And what he built is almost ready. Isaiah 65:24 activates over your future. Before they call, I will answer. While they are still speaking, I will hear. Before you even call, while you are still speaking, he is already answering. The silence was not ignoring. It was answering before you even knew to ask. The silence is ending. The revelation is coming, and it will be worth every moment you spent wondering if he forgot you. He did not forget. He was working the entire time, and now the work is almost complete. Get ready. The sound of construction is about to become the sound of celebration. Your moment is here. Amen.